Well, good morning and welcome to day 7 for this World Judo Championships here held in Baku, Azerbaijan 2018. And we will be covering today the men's category plus 100 kilograms and for the ladies plus 78. My name's Loretta Cusack-Doyle and joining me will be Jean Shin, all the way from the USA.
Good morning,
Welcome.
Loretta.
Good morning, Jane. Well, we've had 6 days of outstanding performances throughout those weight categories. There's been a lot of highs, there's been a lot of lows, there's been some real upsets. Yesterday was very, very shaky, with different outcome altogether than what we predicted in the women's under 78 kilo category, where some of the top seeds went out in a dramatic style. But here we're just starting. We will be covering on tatami 1, where we'll be covering the men's weight category, but only on pool A. And then we will obviously switch through where we'll be also covering the plus 78s, pool A and B. So here we kick off with Nate of Romania in the white and representing Latvia, Kastins in the blue.
Okay, so here we have the biggest of the big boys.
Well, he's a big, gentle giant, this one. He's a great athlete for a heavyweight, over-towering his opponent there, as you can see, from Latvia. As he grips up there, trying to take full advantage of his height, as you can see there.
Oh, big Sewanage drive by Katskins.
Get your teeth in, son. Well, one of the heaviest in this weight category. Tipping the scales at 150 plus kilos. I say plus. It's a very big man here.
So for my American countrymen, that's well over 300 pounds.
And the Latvian Kaskins is weighing 141 kilos. So there's a bit of a difference there, as we can. Well, just to the naked eye, we can see there's a lot of difference in size and weight. But as you can see, the Latvian picking up with 2 Shidos at the moment. Not the ideal start, and we're not even halfway through this contest. The high grip there over, just catching the shoulder and controlling quite nicely there from the Romanian. But as you can see, Kakskin Stin there in the inside, holding on to the lapel.
He's really got his work cut out for him.
Well, he doesn't seem to manage. He's trying to keep really his opponent at bay, trying to keep the distance between him and his opponent there.
Natia is really trying to draw him in. Katskin's holding him out. He might get a third Shido already. So clearly the pace of these matches today will be very different, but we can look forward to real explosive movement. Okay, Shido for both, but that brings Katskins over the edge, and so Natia will come away with the first victory of the day on this mat, where he will have a very different match in his next very different prospect in his next match against Tushishvili from Georgia.
It's the #1 seed coming into this competition. So yes, you're totally right. This is going to be that will be a tough match, and I think it could be.
Up next, we have Campos from Argentina versus Dragic from Slovakia, or is it? Yes, Slovenia.
Yes, from Slovenia. Yeah. Well, this is when you look at the weight, 41 athletes participating in the plus 100s. And as we said already, Tushishvili of Georgia is the #1 seed coming into this competition, but we've got some really strong opposition for that title. And for the first time in 6 years, we have Tiririna, who's not participating. So this opens the floodgates for someone to become the new world champion.
We saw Teddy Riner earlier.
Yes, he's here, and he'll be watching very closely in the performances of these athletes. But for him, he decided to not participate. We're not quite sure why, but he'll be doing his homework here, and this is possibly part of his preparation in towards the Olympic Games.
We saw him a few days ago at the very beginning of the World Championships, presenting the medals to. Was it the very first day?
Yes, it was.
So we had the very largest athlete presenting medals to the very lightest weight class.
Yes,
and
it was lovely.
It was lovely, and even though they were standing on the podium, Monsieur Riner really towered over all of them.
Well, looking at the list of the top seeds, we have Tushishvili of Georgia and Mura, who took a silver medal in the World Championships last year and has already under his belt 9 Grand Slam medals. Kripalik of Czech Republic and Ilzibayev of Mongolia, another seed. Sanaki of Poland, Majob of Iran, which is one of my favorites for tipping the odds here and taking a medal, and Meyer of the Netherlands in the last seed. So there's some really strong opposition out there, but it's also hiding away there in that group. Down in Pool C, you have Oltiboyev of Uzbek and Figueroa and Ogawa. You've got the Japanese in there as well. So, and as well as the Chinese, you can't really underestimate any of them. There's some silent, dangerous men in this weight category, and we've just got to see how this plays out. But you're here battling away. You've got these two athletes, one Shido on the board and 1 minute 45 seconds remaining.
So a lot more action in this match. Campos and Dragic have been actually really active in working on breaking each other's balance. There have been a couple of really good attacks, although Dragic has picked up a couple of Shidos now.
Well, you would have said on paper Dragic would have been, has moved up. Tayatoshi is his favorite technique. Haven't really seen much of that technique as yet. He's just waiting for his moment.
Oh,
really
nice.
Struggling with the grips of Campos. Latest result from Dragic, who was in Taipei in the Asian Open, where he took a bronze medal there.
Well, Dragic has definitely picked up the pace here, seeing as how he's down 2 Shidos and he cannot afford a third. He's really been launching lots of attacks, coming in, mostly Kochi, Uchibara on the right side. Oh, there goes that Tayatoshi, really bringing Campos around, but Dragic has this double collar grip, so it's kind of hard to really rotate your opponent. Campos picks up his first Shido. And Campos is definitely on the defensive in terms of stance and movement. Dragic is the one really driving all of this exchange right now.
He seems to be looking the busier of the two at this moment.
If he continues, I think he's just going to get it, just because Campos really isn't doing much to take control.
Well, we know from lots of experience throughout this week, it could all go horribly wrong, where we see someone dominating right through for the first 4 minutes. The golden score seems to be that turning point for the opposition that seems to be dragging his heels throughout it. But here we have that golden score. Will we see a difference in the dynamics of this contest? Will the athletes start chasing now the win? At this moment, they've been playing safe, I think, for the past 4 minutes. And all we have is accumulation of shidos. It's the first contest for these athletes and possibly a very slow start. The Taitoshi we know that Dragic is very good at, but lost the upper body control. There was no real kumikata.
Campos has picked up his second shido, and for being defensive. So now it's anybody's game.
Well, it is definitely. It's a high collar grip once more for the Slovenian as he draws his opponent's head down. Got that sleeve grip, so he's looking in control of this contest and the one that's driving the pace.
Campos backing up, constantly backing up,
Yeah,
really holding
Campos.
Dragic out.
Definitely, I think he could be looking quite quickly now for a shido.
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
think here
that's where
we've
we're
got
gonna
it. 1 minute into golden score. Campos obviously couldn't find his form here today in this World Championships.
Nope.
And I think we're looking at the third and final shido.
So one of the most remarkable performances I ever saw in this weight class was at the Cadet Worlds some years ago, where the lightest player in the division weighed 100.9 kilos.
Oh, gosh.
Everybody else outweighed him by at least 30 kilos.
For a cadet,
Yeah.
it's really big.
You know,
So here we have sort of those highlights of that contest, which wasn't very many, but Dragic goes through to the next round, and now we swiftly go across to the plus 78 kilos. And you were saying
and
about...
anyway, this player threw everybody in the division for Ippon. He was the very lightest. He barely made it into the division, and yet he threw every single one of those much heavier, much larger players for Ippon. It was beautiful.
Well, here we have the heavyweights, Chikruhu representing Tunisia, and she's up against Kutro Kelly
From the
of
United
the
States.
United States of America. So
So hopefully we'll see a great start for the U.S. today. Just a little plug. Oh, but Chikruhu comes in for the big Osotogari
yes, and
for the Ippon. Oh.
well, definitely a lady that is a contender for taking a medal here in this World Championships. Her build up to the Worlds has been a good performance, very solid performance throughout, and it'll be interesting to see how she continues her day. Not one of the seeded athletes, but definitely one of the athletes that could cause some major upset in the top seeds.
Well,
And those
first
top
throw.
seeds are Kim, who's the #1 seed going into this weight category, and Sidric of Bosnia and Herzegovina is the #2. Asina of Japan and Althema of Brazil. And so that's the top 4. And we've got obviously Slutskia of Belarus and Souza of Brazil, Gizerska, Azerbaijan, and Kalinia of the Ukraine. So that's the lineup of the top seeds. But as we've seen so many times, it could be a different thing. But we're now back to the plus 100s. Camo of Ukraine in the white. Mimamadov of Tajikistan.
Tajikistan.
Yeah. It's one of those, they're so close, the similarities in the
Slovenia,
pronunciation.
Slovakia,
So
yeah.
we've got to really be careful on
Yes.
how we say that.
So we don't, even though this is now in the second round of 100 kilos, Tushishvili and Natea are at the top, but Natea gets at least 5 minutes before he
Yes.
gets his match. So that's why we're going to the second match in this bracket. So, much more active.
Yeah, definitely a different, livelier couple of athletes here than what we've seen in the previous first round.
I think we'll begin to see more throws.
They're slightly
as we get
smaller
farther
as
along.
well, these athletes, aren't they?
A little.
A little. They look small on a screen.
But these
it's
are
when you
all
get-
enormous,
It's when you get
enormous
caught
men.
in the, I know. And looking at the weight categories, there's actually quite a few that are tipping the scale of 150 kilograms plus. Oh, an Uranagi there, beautiful. What a
Big Uranagi by Kamo
my
for the
goodness,
Wazari.
for that, to shift that weight.
After that really strong Ouchi, I'm sorry, yeah, Ouchigari.
Ochigari attempt, and then he made the
into
mistake.
Uranage.
He switched, and the Uranagi there. Well, that was
Really nice.
definitely a good attack, and ruffle the feathers of his opponents, as you would say. Really, that must have.
Murmadov was in too. He was so deep. Nurmagomedov, I'm sorry. There's two.
Yes. Camo there with the Wazari taking the lead now with 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining. Now, in previous days, we would say 1 minute and 45 seconds is still a long, long way. But for the heavyweights, their pace is very slow, isn't it? So this isn't a long time for a heavyweight, I
No.
don't think.
And the pace has really picked up with these subsequent matches.
Well, they're
now,
much more agile, these two, aren't they,
yeah,
from what we've just
much
seen?
more dynamic. Both Kamo and Nurmagomedov picked up a Shido there. Nurmagomedov now on the edge with 2 Shidos and down on Wazari. He's in a really tough spot. So he's really driving in. He's got both hands. Kamo on the outside. But we've seen Kamo as a very dangerous counter thrower. And he's
Nurmagomedov,
looking for that
yeah.
again as he comes in. He reaches around the back. Nurmagomedov in for the Ochi. But Kamo rolling him for the counter.
That's it, and the Wazari is set upon there.
So a nice variety of versatility on Kamo's part. Countering 2 Ochigaris with different counters.
Definitely. Nurmagomedov just really didn't get that opportunity, did he? He was
No.
really battling against the size and obviously the strengths of techniques, the quality of techniques that his opponent was showing there.
Yeah. So. So even though these athletes have increased, the scale of mass and strength is here, there's also great technique.
And it's quite funny, at the background noise there you could hear that we can pick up as the sounds on the tatami, and you could hear the heavyweights warming up, and that bang that we just heard in the background was them just jumping on the tatami. The weight and the
As you see,
right, and now we have
jump
Roy
in the air.
Meyer of the Netherlands in the white, and we have Jabala of Tunisia in the blue.
Big overhand grip.
This is the second round. Meyer, that both these athletes had a bye in the first round.
Wow. I'm glad they're wearing white and blue because otherwise
Gosh, yeah,
they
they're
look
very,
like
very
brothers.
similar. Yeah, very, very similar.
beard, haircut. Even body type. Jabala has a bit of an edge in size,
He's, yeah, slightly bigger than his opponent.
but Meyer looks extremely strong.
Very strong, and he can move his opponents. He can move these heavyweights quite nicely. He's got very fast feet, very
Nimble.
agile.
They're nimble.
He's very nimble.
Okay.
You see, he's trying to
Jabala
make
has this
it's that little bit of a
trying to get him
there,
moving
just
around, but Jabala's really hooked in.
Jabala's grounded to the tatami there. He's not really moving.
Oh, Jabala had locked it up, but Meyer's the one who's called for a Shido.
Yeah, just a poor grip, an infringement on the grip.
Trying to break it, but not able to.
With my circling motion around opponent, and really doesn't want to advance directly into his opponent for the fear of that Tayatoshi.
So of course, a huge difference in this weight class is that since they're coming around to the
there's an opportunity there for Roy Meyer, an attempt of a Sutemi Waza that went all horribly wrong for Jabala, and left it open there for the Dutchman to come in. But there's some size he's got to try and shift in the knee Waza.
So a huge factor in this weight class is that there's no upper limit. So mass is a huge component. You have to be very aware that you could be playing somebody who's significantly more massive than you, literally more massive. So Meyer is clearly conscious of Jabala's superior mass and having to contend with that. That's just not a factor in the other weight classes. Even though reach and strength are certainly there. Oh!
The Seoinage attempt there.
Seoinage.
Really needs to get Jabala moving a little bit more on his feet. He has to break up. At the moment, Jabala is very comfortable being grounded into the tatami. He's not moving much at all. And he's just waiting to be the opportunity to pick off Roy Meyer as he enters.
But that's kind of a risky game to play
because
Jabala could be called for.
But at this moment, it seems to be working with him because there's only one Shido on the board.
Right.
And that goes to Roy Meyer for an infringement on the gripping. So at this moment, he's safe enough to play that game. But here we go. This is where it starts accumulating. So now they're going to be very conscious on what Jabala's doing. He's already picked a first Shido up for passivity. Now, on a Seoinage, this time much deeper there for Roy Meyer.
As Jabala's reaching,
there,
really good timing. Meyer's definitely got guts trying to turn Jabala.
Definitely.
That is so difficult.
Roy Meyer's favorite technique is Uchimata. I can't see him attempting the Uchimata on this gentleman. I must say, yes, it would be.
Another big technique on the heavyweights is Sasai Tsurukomiyashi. That's a huge favorite. And Makikomi, as we saw Jabala attempt there. But so far out, didn't move Meyer at all. But that was a good attack, though. Kind of stops the clock on Jabala's passivity. Or resets it anyway.
No.
So you see how Meyer has that cat's paw grip on Jabala's sleeve. He's got to move. He can't just hold on to it. He's already been penalized once. So I think he's going to get a second one here. Oh, well, okay. Passivity on Meyer. And both. So now it's 2-2. Shido's.
Well, it's going. Now we're into golden score. Both these athletes in a very dangerous situation. One mistake from either one of them would cost them dearly. Third being the Hansokamaki disqualification.
Both players really turning up the heat. And Jabala down for Sutemi Waza. Meyer really riding it out.
This is the second time he's put himself in a very difficult situation there.
Yeah, but this time Meyer locked it.
He was able to capitalize on it, and now he's tied up the head very nicely indeed.
Right
he's got
up around the
that
upper
shoulder
quadrant.
right deep into the head.
If he could free that leg. Oh, he's really jogging it. But Jabala's got a great hook on it. Oh, and he held on to it long enough. Referee called mate. Meyer looks like he might have a bit of an edge here in conditioning. Oh, but Jabala in for a big driving, coming around the grip. Coach is really animated. Jabala picking up the pace, in for an Uchimata.
Well, the last time these met, looking at the result, was back in 2016, some time ago.
Jabala trying to walk Meyer off the edge of the mat. Meyer Sorry, Meyer just jogging around,
Yes,
avoiding
it really is. It's starting to look more and more busy out there.
Meyer now driving in. Now we're back to where we started in the very beginning. This is identical to where they were. Oh. 118 in golden score. Meyer trying to come in for Sasai. Javala in for Uchimata.
Well, Javala, looking as he lays there on the tatami, looks like he really is spent, totally spent out there.
Meyer does look a little fresher. I agree.
A little bit more. And the thing is, for me, this is the body language, the signs, signals that gives percentages to Meyer, because he sees his opponent that can hardly get up the ground. So that's only got to build his confidence to keep going, knowing that he's put him under so much pressure.
And it builds his momentum. Meyer just had a great Sewanage attempt just there, as Javala was driving in, and where he nearly caught him before. If he get in on his own Sewanage, pulling Javala around. I think that might be a third Shido for Javala. Several attacks, unanswered attacks by Meyer.
And I think this was the tactical ploy that Roy Meyer was working on, is just keeping very busy, being first to the attack, and putting more and more pressure on Javala. And I think it's most probably worked. 1 minute and 47 seconds into golden score, and I think we could be looking at the third and final Shido. But we won't be marking up our sheets just yet, because we never know.
I'm waiting.
You never know. I see you getting a little bit itchy with that pen.
Just ready.
And there you have it.
There we go.
Third and final Shido. Sengo Hansakimaki, and a win to Roy Meyer from the Netherlands. And the Dutch team have been having a really good performance in general overall with their team.
They really have.
A couple of medals yesterday, especially with the women. They're looking very, very strong. Rakic there, coming in on Huasin and against Colum. Oh no, we're going back up to the top there.
Yeah.
Tushishvili of Georgia and Nate of Romania. So we've gone back up to the top. This is the #1 seed of the competition.
In white. And as we saw Matea in his first match, this is going to be very different, I think.
Fifth, Tutushishvili got a 5th place in the World Championships last year. Be wanting definitely to be going through and being on a place in the podium this year. Has had a good performance, a solid performance throughout the year in the World Tour, where he picked up medals in Zagreb, Tbilisi he won, which would we expect, and a 5th place in the Continental tournament. So he's always someone that hovers around either in the medal positions or in the placings. So it's been interesting to see him climb up the top on the seedings.
Beautiful Ashiwaza.
Ashiwaza knocking his opponent down onto his knees. Decided to stay out of the Niwaza there, just opted to get the attack in and no more.
So you could see how Tushishvili was really edging his way in with his left hip, bringing Natea over and over, a little bit more each time, and then really popping that Ashiwaza on the opposite side. So here you have this dynamic I was talking about earlier, where you've got a much lighter player going up against somebody with considerable mass advantage, and yet trying to really manage that mass advantage to his mass to his own advantage.
Well, as you can see, he's coming around the back, which is more or less trapping the right arm of the Romanian, as you can see. He's got under the armpit there, but because that arm's tucked on the elbow, the Romanian's not getting that leverage that you would want to lift Tushishvili up onto his toes to break the Kazushi and then finish it with an attack.
And Natia picking up a second Shido now.
So he's playing a good tactical play.
Very tactical, very technical though too, because not only does that lock Natia down, but it allows him to really get around and move that mass in a way that it would be very difficult to do in another, other ways. He's getting close to the center of gravity, so he could come in with his hip and really start popping it and getting that opposite leg. See, like that?
Sasai there, attempt.
So while he's popping that in, he's also lifting and drawing with his left hand.
He's definitely, at this moment, he's a little bit loose there. He's left himself slightly vulnerable without having any engaging grip. Comes in with the Sianagi. Well, he needs to move Nate a little bit more before engaging in that, because the counter is there for Nate, and that's where he's very clever.
And he's got to be, and Tushishvili's got to be careful.
Possibility, that's what he's really waiting for, but it's backfiring on him.
Oh, beautiful!
Yes!
Beautiful! Oh, Sonogari! Oh, that's exactly what we want to see.
Well, that's definitely
that was so beautiful. Reversal of direction. You know, constantly doing that Sasai attack and then switching directions to take him in the opposite way.
Well, definitely the Georgian fan club is here. This has erupted in this stadium. But goodness, that woke us all up, didn't it? What a lovely throw, and I can't wait to see.
At first, I was thinking he might be trying to go to the tactical thing and really do so many attacks that he was going to draw.
I think he would have won.
But he would have, but then he went for the fully pawn.
So much nicer to see
really
a win by a pawn. And here you got it. You've got the cross grip. He then switched to the belt.
Getting the obi,
Osodagari.
And in for the Osodagari. And see how he's still got his left hand around the back on the opposite side.
On both sides.
Yeah,
Drawing
really circling that mass and girding that mass.
Great gripping skill.
Great gripping skill.
And that was perfect for a person of that size. Because I think if he had the lapel, it would have left him a little bit too loose.
It'd be very hard
and he would still have had only half the power. But by taking it on the side,
he's attacking the center of gravity.
He then got both parts of that body, didn't he, and drove over. Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
Nice. That was
beautiful heavyweight judo.
A lovely bit of excitement there, and has put us on the edge of our seats. Now I feel like we've just started this competition. Dradic here of Slovenia in the white and Column of Serbia in the blue. Well, we saw Dragic there earlier on in the first round, and a very convincing start of the day for this young man. And we're hoping they'll be continue that. And Colum had a bye in the first round, so that he's come out. This is his first match. Sometimes that's a bonus, and in other ways possibly a disadvantage, because you really want to know how your day's going, and that first match gives you that real indication, and you're going to have a good day at the office or a bad one. And for Dragic has had that. He knows how he's going to feel. He's felt the atmosphere out here in the field of play in the arena itself. And for those that have maybe not been in a tournament or watch a tournament here, the athletes only get to see the field of play when they're about to compete. They're not able to use the contest area as a warm-up area, so they will never experience that until they're ready to fight. And this morning when we went through there, the atmosphere in there, you could cut it with a knife, the amount of work that these heavyweights were doing.
But of course, fatigue will be a huge factor in this weight class, as it is in every weight class. But when you're facing somebody who has so much more mass than you, that could be really, really draining. So coming out and being completely fresh could be a huge advantage.
It's like doing a heavyweight session, isn't it, in the gym? You just know that you've got to have rest between them.
And Colum certainly has been coming out here, really very aggressively coming in with hands around the obi and on the belt and getting both hands in there. But this is the second time Dragic has come down into a Sutemi Waza.
Yes, I think this
that
is
one
more
was kind
of
of anemic.
Yeah, I think that was more of a ploy
and
to get him into Niwaza. So there you have. I thought it was very much a false attack. and he picks up a Shido for that.
But as we've said before, you know, better a Shido than a Nippon.
Exactly.
You know,
Totally.
And Cullum was on
And
his way. Oh,
yeah.
here he goes again.
Comes in deep.
Getting this double underarm. I think he's got the same. Yep, he's got the same thing on the
Yeah,
other
he's
side. Similar to what we saw Tushishvili do.
Yep, drawing him onto the hip.
Uchigari. But Dragic really sinking his hips back.
Well, he's got much more of a leverage there, Colum, as he hooks him with the Ochigari. And I have sensed that he would try and lever him in with the hips as well for a forward attack, just a combination there. Really didn't sort of get that combination going, and Dragic puts an attack in and gets that mate, which I'm quite sure he'll be relieved with, because it was looking very uncomfortable for Dragic there.
And
he was in a bit of a dangerous situation.
And that was a better Makikomi entry, although he didn't keep his grip at all. So that is a bit of a hard sell. That was more of an escape than it was an attempt to throw. But it worked. So if Dragic can get his grip, as he looks much more comfortable now with a much more conventional grip. Cullum in. Dragic able to drive it. Keep it from completion. Oh, but Dragic picks up a second Shido.
Which piles the pressure on, changes the dynamics of this contest now. And as we've seen yesterday, that played a major factor in athletes winning when the two Shidos were up, because the athletes with the two Shidos down is really under pressure and has to start coming forward and opening up and really not having to make any more mistakes, which made them very vulnerable. Kosota! Oh, yes. Well,
Cullum.
That was a pile drive down,
finally got what he wanted.
It was just so slow motion.
Dragic could just not withstand that one.
No.
Really drew him in the upper body and then hooked with his right leg around Dragic for the Kosotogari.
A full force of the whole body weight
Dragic really
going
felt that.
through the center of Dragic, and he really just had no comeback from there.
No.
He could feel himself going, and he couldn't go left or right to try and get a counter attack. That was too much weight going.
So that's the first throw we've seen where not only was there technical execution there with the upper body and the grip and the drawing in and the leg, but just using overwhelming mass to come in and finish the drive. That's a big feature of this weight class. It's definitely a weapon to be able to bring to bear. And that's the first time we've seen it.
That was nice. And you actually look at his footwork
there.
Yeah,
it's really good.
It's very, very clever.
It's
where
quite technical.
He's actually taken in the direction he moved for that Kosota.
Yep.
Here we have Kim of Korea in the white, Ortiz of Cuba in the blue. And this is the women's weight category, so we have in front of us now. And Ortiz been on the scene in a couple of the World Tour matches and started to come to form. It was her last competition. She looked very, very strong and looked like she'd actually found her form in the build-up towards this World Championships. But Kim, the #1 seed, was a bronze medalist in the World Championships last year. Will obviously be a tough opponent for her. Ortiz, again, one of these athletes that was thrown in the mix there without a seeding, which makes her very dangerous indeed.
Dangerous. And then also China is right in here too. So in the very top of this bracket, we have the first seed, Cuba, and China.
Very Olympic silver medalist in Rio and previous Olympic gold medalist. So this is a lady that's got a lot of form, this young from Cuba.
Both players picking up a Shido. Not being quite active enough. I think Kim is being a little cautious.
Well, I'm not surprised. The double world champion, Olympic gold and silver medalist Ortiz was someone you have to be really cagey with. She has the ability with the sand. When she comes in with the sand, the Makakomi, she's very dangerous. That Seoinage Makakomi techniques, when she gets those hips in, there's no stopping her. She's a lot of power. She's very short, and so it means that she gets right under these tall athletes.
Center of gravity would be low, right? These players look pretty evenly matched in terms of height, though. Kim might be a touch taller. Kim picking up a second Shido for not engaging. So with 1:30, that's a lot of time.
Still plenty of time to go.
Ortiz driving in a bit more aggressively. Really going for these small Ishiwaza attacks, trying to get things off balance. Kim responding with her own Ashiwaza. Ortiz picking up a second Shido now for holding the hand up defensively, locking it down.
So 2 Shidos apiece, and if any of these athletes make a mistake, then it's going to be a major upset for either one of these athletes going out.
So the referees seem to be holding the heavyweights to the same standard for play and pace that they have in the lighter weights.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what we're wanting to see is athletes engaging.
Yep.
Regardless their size, they're capable of doing judo, and that's what we're wanting to see. Obviously, the pace is not what we're expecting to be the same,
no.
A lightweight to a heavyweight, but we do want to see them both gripping up and making an effort to throw.
Yeah, working towards creating opportunities.
And some are obviously slower than others in getting started. Some play a bit of a waiting game because their forte and their main attack is possibly the counters, like the uranagis that we see more in the heavyweight division, the kosotagaks, the counter effects that are very, very effective. But that's the risk you take by waiting.
And
there
Kim
you have it, Kim,
picking up the third
the
Shido.
number 1 seed, goes out of the tournament.
Because she just wasn't assertive enough.
Well, this young lady, Kim, who'd taken a gold medal in Paris this year, a gold medal in the Masters St. Petersburg at the end of last year, and has gone out as that number 1 seed to Ortiz, which again, it's not a major surprise, because Ortiz was one of those, the loose cannon. She was the one that got thrown into the mix, being unseeded coming into the Worlds.
But she's quite successful.
Yeah, double world champion, Olympic gold medalist, and Olympic bronze medalist in Olympic silver medalist in Rio. So can't write her off.
So just to remind people, seeding occurs, the top seeds are determined by how many points you have in the world stage, and Ortiz just didn't have enough points to make the top 8. So even though she had, similar to Aaron Wolf yesterday in the under 100
Yes,
kilos.
exactly the same.
Right. So you can have world champions or Olympic champions who are unseeded just because they haven't played as many tournaments as some of the other players.
And this really mixes it all up, doesn't it? Because they could be put anywhere within the draw. Unfortunately for Kim, it was the second match.
Wang really driving that kata tejime on Moniz from Cabo Verde. Wang from China, Moniz from Cabo Verde. And here we have, again, this huge disparity in mass. Moniz really has an uphill battle.
Well, with size, what an athlete Wang is from China. As you can see, a real massive difference in size here. 22 on the world ranking list, Wang is for China.
She must be, she's well over 6 feet tall.
Yeah, she's definitely a very big athlete indeed. Just the size of an athlete you would just love to have walk through your dojo.
So 6 feet and
Yeah,
it's 180
and bends
centimeters.
and ducks under the doorway of the dojo.
May have to turn sideways to get those shoulders through.
Definitely.
Look at those shoulders.
Oh, she's
and
a big,
Wang really
powerful,
turning in for Newaza.
beautiful
and
transition.
Beautiful transition. And once one of these heavyweights gets you in a pin, that is very difficult to escape. Beautiful kuzuri tateshi hagatame. But
Well,
Moniz is giving it a great effort, really, really trying. But it will be Wang for the ippon over Moniz. And Cabo Verde.
well, definitely someone to watch. For me, a little bit of the unknown, which makes it very, very scary. But as I say, unknown in Paris, took a silver medal in the Grand Slam there, and obviously the Asian Games was bronze medalist. But for me, I think this is someone to watch.
So the
think the
pace may
next
be different,
match-
but this is no less exciting than
Oh,
any of
no.
the other divisions we've been watching.
Just the size of this athlete. She is a brilliant size and very lean as well.
Yeah,
Oh, and so polite. That was nice.
she's just big.
She's just a big
She's just
lady.
big. Up next, Kalanina from Ukraine. Oh, as we see this beautiful transition into this just textbook Tateshi Ogatame.
Kalanin there coming up very shortly for the Ukraine.
Versus Berlakash from
Berlakash from-
Kazakhstan.
That'll be an interesting match. But what will be a very interesting later on is seeing Ortiz and Wang. For me, that will be
That'll
that's
be a
going
great
to be
match.
a real battle.
Yeah. So, and such total difference in body type, you know?
Oh, yes. Well, here you have another very tall athlete that has shown potential for a long time now. We're still really trying to see her make a mark in the heavyweight.
Kalinina?
She's been round, Kalina's been round on the podium, but just not showing consistency. And this is someone that, when you look at her, you think she's
Well, she's
wonderful.
got a nice turn going here.
Well, she's doing very well here
If she could
against
just get her leg out
Kazakhstan.
and then finish the osaikomi, she definitely, she had the osaikomi. But Barlakash turns out. Will Kalanina now go for the Jujigatame? No. Okay.
She's ranked Kalanin ranked number 10 in the world ranking list. And with those long legs, favors the Osotogari. She's turning her hips to go forward at the moment, but when she connects behind the back,
Oh, nice counter.
Osota, nicely done.
And in for another pin.
Well, she secured the Osakomi there. Well, they've decided to go. Well, they're looking there that it's Ippon, but
Right.
they're not going to halt the Osakomi. There we have it. But
He's calling Togeta.
well, they're
Ippon.
calling direct Ippon.
Right, direct Ippon
But
for
in
the
fairness
throw.
to the referee, he was allowing that to go just in case.
Right.
Not going to change any minds there, making sure that she completes the Osakomi to the point that obviously it was a Tokita, which the hold broken.
So, Kalanina. A very solid Ippon over Barlakash from Kazakhstan.
And here we have the highlights.
So,
Right round the back,
nice counter.
lovely attack there.
Barlakash in. Kalanina riding it out. Up now, we have Sanya from Senegal versus Maranic.
Maranic, yes, from
Croatia?
Croatia.
Oh, and here we have, again, another big differential in mass.
Yes.
But we have seen that that is no bar to victory.
No, definitely isn't. You cannot underestimate the opportunity of speed and agility that some of these more slender athletes in this weight category have. It takes a little bit more out of them, I would imagine, but
they specialize in playing larger people.
yes.
So they have
and the
to.
thing is that she's got the height, definitely got,
the
she's
height.
definitely got the height for a
And
heavyweight.
she looks quite strong.
And as long as she has, for her height, the judo that matches it, you tend to sometimes find some of these tall athletes tend to do the wrong techniques, or what you would think not the most appropriate, have the most appropriate skills for their height advantage. They do things like drop sienagis, and you think,
which is surprising.
Got beautiful uchimatas, the osotagaris, the big haraigoshis.
And yet they work.
and they work, but they don't seem to use those leggy techniques, as I call them.
Maybe because everybody knows that that's what they're going to come in for.
Possibly,
so.
Yes. It's
well, it'd be interesting to see what
the expectations.
But it'll be interesting to see what Sanya brings to this. Let's see if she can move Maranic around. Referee trying to make sure that Sanya's belt is well secured.
Okay. Well, she gives her a Shido, so...
To both players.
Shido, well, in fairness, I think that was correct.
Okay.
Sagna there takes the first grip, comes over the top. High collar grip, but now decides to go back into the lapel traditional sort of style of the kumikata. Maranic.
So we've seen a big Osoto work before in the men's division today already with Kamo.
Oh gosh, that was
throwing,
nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nurmagomedov.
Maranic really holding off there. She's got to, there, trying to work in the Niwaza. That's going to be a tall order there. Yeah.
she can turn Sanya when Sanya doesn't want to be turned.
Opportunities there.
Just under 2 minutes left in the match.
She takes the lapel grip there.
So
Sagna
really
she looked like she was going to go for the Tomonagi, but the foot came up and she decided not to.
Maybe that won't be the best
I think that was
choice.
a wise choice there, to be honest.
That would be difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
But if she could get under and really drive up with that leg.
Yeah, just under the center of balance and.
But the trick is going to be to get Sanya really to move. So second big attack by Sanya. Maranic hasn't really been able to find her entry point.
No, definitely. She's struggling to get past
it's difficult.
The defenses there from Sanya.
Maranic really trying to find a good angle. Coming up, good Ashiwaza!
Stumbles the feet.
Really nice Kouchigari.
And then she'll work down in the Niwaza, but was at it
for
there,
the Ippon.
Definitely Ippon.
Yeah, I thought so too. Here we see it again right away. And that's a big feature at Judo at this weight class as well. Ashiwaza is tremendously successful technique.
Definitely.
Family to use.
There was nice control on that left hand on the shoulder that gave her the sleeve grip, the traditional grip that we'd been seeing. And she just spread those shoulders
flat
really onto the
driving
tatami.
and pulling.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll see it again. So beautiful Ashiwaza Kouchigari by Maranic of Croatia. There we go. See, so driving that head and pulling with the right. Beautiful classic technique.
Well, another one that wasn't seeded that will be coming up right now that's been thrown into the mix here is Mbairo of France, and she'll be up against Althema of Brazil very shortly. Now this will be very interesting. This is going to definitely be a right battle between these two.
So we're seeing a much more even match in terms of mass. Alphaman is strong. Really over the shoulder, coming in for the Uchimata. Baidoro shutting it down.
Alphaman, for me, she has that deadly Cianagi when she gets the opportunity. The world ranking number 4 in the seeding.
Baidoro.
Athena. Athena. Strong athlete.
Going around the back now, so let's see what she's got.
Oh, yes!
Baidoro.
So this is what I said. This is the biggest. This is like a hand grenade that's been thrown into that mix. Baidoro is not seeded, and she's come in. It's another top athlete that wasn't seeded in that top part of the draw. And it makes it quite scary how this draw's sort of come together. We had it with Ortiz.
Again.
Now we've got Baidoro.
Alphaman really trying to come in with that hit, but Baidoro really responding very effectively with her own counters to this approach. Alphaman really wants to get this big overhand throw.
Well, Athena, you cannot write her off. She's had 2 silver medals in the World Championships. Didn't medal last year, but she's definitely always been a real contender when it comes to her performances.
Clearly
a few
very
bronze
powerful.
medals this year. A good build-up towards this World Championship. Switches to the Ouchigari there. And Baidoro obviously looked to counter, but really fell into the trap there, didn't she?
And she's looking for the score. Did she have enough control? Did she take away enough control?
I think she did. It did look like she had it. No.
But the referees aren't agreeing.
I thought that Ouchigari just clipped the heels, but was it possibly Baidoro that used her to do the counter that accelerated
and just
that
took
movement?
away control? So neither player had sufficient control there, so there's no score.
With a high collar grip. Baidoro coming in the inside there. A little bit vulnerable there on the edge of the contest area.
Very tense match. Okay, Alphaman changing up her grip a bit. Now switching over to the side. Again, same exchange. Alphaman picks up the Wazari though this time. How was... I'd be love to see the replay.
Yeah,
that looked pretty flat to me.
So strong. Kumikata comes round the back and nice. This time it was the Ouchigari.
It was the Ouchigari?
Definitely, yeah.
So why do you suppose that wasn't a Wazari, or it wasn't an Ippon?
It was strong, wasn't it? Possibly. Yeah. It looks so square, didn't it?
It looks square to me. I wonder if he'll wave it off and rescore it. I think they're reviewing it.
I think the fact that when she landed, she was so close towards the belt level down the lower part of the body, rather than being like chest to chest so high up, which would have emphasized the Ippon more.
Maybe.
But
we'll see. Was already being waved off? Into Ippon.
And I think that's a right call. Definitely a right call.
So, Alphaman with a really, really decisive, powerful Ouchigari for the Ippon. And, she really felt that was there because she went after it several times.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, we saw it the first time and she didn't get a score for it. We obviously felt it was a bit 50-50.
Well, she got the Wazari the first time. Oh, no, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they didn't,
they
didn't give the score.
They didn't give her a score at all.
We thought it was a score. I thought it was, but they decided to not give it to her. But yeah, square hips.
This looks just about as solid as you could get.
You can't get
her hips do hit first, that's true. But she's going straight to her back. Okay. Next we have Weiss from Germany.
Yep.
Batulga from Mongolia.
Well, again, this is another tough match that's coming up here.
Wow. Batulga looks solid.
Oh, very strong athlete
Wow.
indeed. And
But nimble of foot.
yeah, and neither one of these athletes seeded in this competition, but definitely great potential for medals here today based on the overall performances throughout the year and building up to this competition.
Weiss
Power
in
to
for
over there.
Uchimata,
Weiss.
but Batulga really turning it. Just not moving Batulga at all.
Weiss really did well to defend against that.
not get
Batulga
countered.
took a bronze medal in Hooihots in the Grand Prix earlier on this year.
But Batulga hasn't really been getting anything going on her own yet.
No, not yet. She's playing a bit of a waiting game.
A little
at
bit of
this
movement
point,
now, but Weiss has got this strong left-hand grip inside of Batulga's right-hand grip. Now they're switching out, getting a bit more around the back. But Weiss definitely has the advantage in reach. So this is interesting. I think I would give Batulga the advantage in mass, but Weiss has the advantage in reach. So kind of see which one will prevail. Both look, I'd say, pretty much matched for power. Oh, Weiss reaching around behind Batulga, briefly going for a Koshi. Koshi was it? Koshi Guruma maybe? Now locked back into this Kinkayotsu around the back grip. Oh, Weiss really coming in for Tsurigoshi. Batulga just anchoring that down, locking it down. Batulga with this beautiful upright posture. Oh, and trying to bring Weiss around, but Weiss countering for the Wazari, I think. No, well, she's got the Osaikomi. Batulga not sure that, okay, she wasn't sure it was Osaikomi. And now that she realizes she's really fighting it, oh, but Weiss has got that locked. And this really good Yoko Shihogatame. And we'll get the Ippon. Batulga really made a mistake there by not moving immediately, waiting to get a clear signal from the referee that Osaikomi was in progress. Lost about 10 seconds. I'm not sure it would have made a difference.
No, I don't.
Weiss had that pretty well locked.
She really had it locked up. It was just a matter of time. But there was a bit of excitement there. And it'll be a very interesting match coming up between those two. Athema of Brazil and Weiss a little bit later on. That will be quite a battle. We have now Slutskaya representing Belarusia coming up very shortly, and she will be against the Tunisian who had a great start of the day, Chikruhu of Tunisia. Right. So for me, Chikruhu, she's had some good outings here this year already, some good performances and medals that she's picked up. Definitely a contender for a medal.
Slutskaya really moving her around, though, at this point.
And she's obviously one of the seeds.
Chikruhu being very careful about Slutskaya's grip. Just does not want her to have what she wants at all. Being much more cautious. But Slutskaya really gets anchored, coming in for Sewanage. Which I've always found to be very courageous at this weight class.
Yeah. She's very tall. Slutskaya.
She is taller.
She's a very tall looking athlete, isn't she? When I say athlete, she's a nice size for a heavyweight, isn't she? And
Yeah.
looks very fit.
Yeah. Chikruhu picking up the Shido. Both players now have one Shido. 2:40 seconds, 2 minutes and 40 seconds in the match. Chikruhu being a little bit more aggressive. Slutskaya circling and now getting her grip. Coming in again for Sewanage. And almost driving Chikruhu, but Chikruhu now trying to drive Slutskaya, getting into Newaza. Looking for the Shimewaza, but it's over the chin. I think you can see it. Going for that kata tejime, which has been so popular. It's an incredibly powerful choke. Slutskaya looking none the worse for wear in that exchange. Slutskaya's had all the major attacks so far. Both players just so cautious of allowing the other player to get a good grip, but now Slutskaya has both hands. Chikruhu in for Ouchigari. That's Slutskaya easily stepping out of it. But that resets the clock for Chikruhu's attack. One minute, just under a minute, 30 seconds left in the match. And Slutskaya continuing to drive the energy and beautiful movement.
What a so close there. Good attack.
Really good.
Piling the pressure on. Chikruhu there, she's defending quite nicely. I don't think you'll see any as she starts to try and come past those there, but I'm not quite sure had that
she was trying a shimiwaza, I think.
Possibility of a shimiwaza being there.
But nope. 1 minute, just over 1 minute left in the match. And Chikruhu picking up a second Shido for passivity. If Slutskaya can maintain that pace in this next minute, she may draw that third penalty just because her attacks are so much. She's definitely got the high percentage attacks, and they're so powerful. Another strong Sewanage attempt. Drawing, getting Chikruhu to move, really building up some momentum, and then switching directions. Chikruhu's in trouble.
She is. She's really in trouble with two Shidos on the board. She's coming up to the third, just half a minute remaining in this contest. She will have to start running onto her, and she'll start having to pile the pressure, but I don't know if she's got enough time. She's definitely got the judo, there's no doubt about it. She can throw and throw big, but I think Slutskaya, for me, has been on form today. She's tactically played this match very, very well.
Very well.
Against a strong opponent.
Really good attacks that Chikruhu has really had to stop. I mean, if Chikruhu wasn't stopping those, Slutskaya would throw her.
Oh, definitely.
So I think we're going to see a third Shido here, just because Slutskaya's attacks have just been too formidable. And I think Chikruhu looks unhappy with how things have gone.
Well, she'll be pretty frustrated with that, if there's no doubt about it.
And here we have the third penalty. 3 Shidos for Chikruhu. So Slutskaya.
No, Slutskaya there, a good result. And against a very tough opponent, there's no doubt about it. And now we're coming up. Who will be up against, we're coming to the next match, who will be up against Slutskaya a little bit later on. And that's with Adlington in the white and Lopa.
Bangladesh. Adlington in white, Lopa in blue.
So Adlington of Great Britain, Lopa of Bangladesh.
Adlington clearly has the...
She's definitely got the height advantage there.
Right.
Strong athlete.
But Lopa is a very strong player here.
One of these that's been plagued a little bit with shoulder injuries, and seems to be coming back very strong over the past few months, and in preparation for this World Championships.
Adlington has the grip. She needs to get an attack going here.
Yes, she needs to use that grip. She's
Really
in control, but
yeah.
not using that advantage at this particular moment.
No.
Obviously, it's a settling process.
There we go. Oh, wow.
Yes! What a throw.
I guess she was just biding her time.
Yes, just settling process, I was about to say, just getting rid of some of the pre-match nerves.
Beautiful,
well,
beautiful
definitely that will
Haraigoshi.
throw out any nerves that she's got. And a great start for Adlington of Great Britain.
One of the most dynamic throws we've seen today, and we've seen a couple.
That was a beautiful, and you know what was nice? It was pure leg power, real upright.
Look at that. Gorgeous.
Lovely control.
Haraigoshi.
Beautiful harai. Wonderful textbook style there. Fantastic start.
And she switched her grip at just the last moment to really draw Lopa in.
That's most probably one of the best throws I've seen Adlington do for a long, long time. Gives me a lot of excitement of seeing how she's going to perform in the next round.
Back to the men's division with Tushishvili versus Kamo from the Ukraine. Tushishvili from Georgia. And this is one of the matches we've really been anticipating. Kamo had that gorgeous throw in the beginning.
Yeah, the number one seed,
up against the first seed.
This has been good. These two, obviously, for me, look, well, I think on paper you would say
Tushishvili! Sewanage for the Ippon! Oh! And our Georgian friends sitting next to us are so happy.
That's woke them all up there. They're just...
oh, but the Ippon being waved off. I was a little concerned. I didn't think Kamo was quite on his back.
He lost a little bit of control at the latter stage.
At the very
but it was such a big throw.
Big throw, big beautiful throw.
You would have actually given him to it for that. So
Wazari for Tushishvili. It's not quite over. Let's see if Kamo can recover. He certainly has a second chance.
Well, it's definitely unnerved him. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, and Kamo's coming back strong. Little Ashiwaza getting Tushishvili to stumble. Boy, when heavyweights throw, it's so magnificent.
Well, when they get an opportunity to throw, well, will you look at Adlington with a big harai? That was a beautiful technique.
Wonderful.
For the heavyweights so far with women, that was the best throw so far.
Definitely.
I know it's early doors.
Kamo in for that.
Wow, he's coming back in vengeance there.
But Tushishvili spinning out of it. No score for Kamo. Let's see if either one of them. I'm pulling for both of them.
Oh gosh, yes. So for me, they're both great athletes, both performing here, both going out to win this contest.
And Kamo really keeping the pressure on Tushishvili, not giving him an ounce of freedom.
He's really all over him. He's not letting up at all. The pressure is constantly there. Tushishvili.
Looks like
obviously under a bit of pressure, but he's trying to defend that Wazari. He cannot defend that. He's got to stay engaged in this contest. Otherwise, he's going to accumulate these Shidos very, very quickly. And this will change the dynamics of this contest.
That's right.
One more Shido, then he's on the chasing game. And he doesn't really want to be doing that. Kosoda!
Kamo coming out with the Kosoda, but Tushishvili really trying. Sonogari for Tushishvili! But Kamo, really just manages to turn out of it at the last second.
How did he manage to get out of that? I never know.
That's amazing.
Kamo did so well. His awareness in the tachi was...
oh my gosh.
And the Ukraine coach there saying, come on, keep the pressure going.
And Tushishvili kept driving, but Kamo just really, really held it off. And so Tushishvili has really stepped up to answer Kamo's pressure. Kamo coming in for Sewanage. Tushishvili trying to turn it.
Well, that was amazing how he managed to get out of that. It looked like it was all over and done with then.
And you have to remember the mass that's involved. These men are both well over 100 kilos. So enormous inertia involved.
Tushishvili looking to take that lapel. Oh, the Ouchigari there from Kamo. It comes round the back to...
Oh! Yes! Big Sasai Tsurukomiyashi for the Ippon. What a finish!
Couldn't have performed that any better.
Getting that same grip around the waist
as he entered there.
Oh.
Well, this
that
is
Kamo actually used earlier on Nurmagomedov.
Definitely. Oh, he got a bit of a taste of his own medicine there. And Tushishvili, my goodness me.
There are so many highlights to see from this one match. Tushishvili, brilliant.
In style, what form this man's on. And you could just see there, Maya just at the edge of the contest area, having to witness that match. Oh!
What a Sasai! Or actually a Harai. That was a Harai Tsurukomiyashi.
He swept,
Really swept that foot. Not a block at all. So clean. Oh, and we're into the next match.
Timing just perfect.
Okay. Meyer and Cullum picking up the pace right where that last match left off. Meyer from the Netherlands, Cullum from Serbia. Meyer in for the Osotogari. Anybody who doesn't think heavyweights have real judo just needs to look at that last match. It's all about mass. That's definitely not the case. That's just about the prettiest Harai Tsurukomiyashi I've seen. It's the only one I've seen in the whole tournament. Oh, Cullum again coming in for that big throw that he tried before, but Meyer able to counter this time. Down into Osaikomi. Geta Wazari countering Cullum's overpowering Kosotogari drive. Meyer locking up the Yokoshi Hogatame for the Ippon. Oh, what a couple of amazing matches, one right after the other. I'm sure we'll get to see that again in just a second. Oh, now remember, we are only covering Pool A of the 100 kilogram class. There are 3 other pools on the other mats. One match, one player that we're really going to be looking forward to is Krpalek, Lukasz Krpalek from the Czech Republic. He's the current Olympic champion, I think at under 100 kilos, and he's now going for the over 100 kilos. So, Cullum in with a big driving Kosoro, but Meyer, brilliant counter, bringing Cullum down into this newaza position and really locking that up. Whoa. Now we're shifting back to the women's, 78 kilos, plus 78 kilos. Ortiz from Cuba versus Wang from China. Oh, and this is the match that we were talking about earlier. Such a different, oh! Ortiz in for that Sewanage. And Wang just barely avoiding getting scored on. Ortiz taking advantage of her lower stature, shorter stature, I should say, against the much taller Wang. And a classic use of technique to capitalize on her much lower center of gravity coming in for that Sewanage. Okay, both players settling into a very, very solid grip very quickly. No kumikata at all. Wang in for Uchimata. So Wang responding with a typical tall person's attack against a shorter player with this Uchimata. But Ortiz rather solidly blocking it out. Not really being driven at all. Both players going down, but no real off balance, even though that was a really strong entry. So after a quiet start, things have really heated up here at the plus 78 and plus 100 kilo weight categories. Wang and Ortiz again settling into this very powerful Kinkayotsu situation. Wang now for Harai Goshi this time. But Ortiz again blocking it out. Even though Wang has got that long leg, it's difficult to get Ortiz's upper body around to complete the rotation that she's looking for. That we saw with Adlington's terrific Harai Goshi earlier in the day. Oh, Ortiz! Ortiz with the Sewanage for the Wazari. This time really getting in the penetration that she needed and the rotation. So here we're gonna see it from another angle. Really, oh, wow. I bet you they're gonna review that. Oh, they're not, I'm not sure why that wasn't an ippon, but it was a very solid Sewanage. Just under 2 minutes left in the contest. Wang again coming across for Harai Goshi, but Ortiz really, really locking Wang's sleeve down, making it very difficult for any kind of completion, any kind of complete movement. So Ortiz, I think, playing the waiting game at this point. Wang having to play catch up. Ortiz turning it on the inside, capitalizing on an attack to get the outside komi on Wang. Wang now has only got a few seconds to try and get out. She's really driving, but Ortiz has got that Yokoshi Ogotame locked in for the ippon. So if you're new to judo, if you already have a wazari, if you get a second wazari, that will end the match. And in a pinning situation, the pin time is reduced if you already have a wazari. It's because you only need 15 seconds to get that second wazari instead of the full 20 seconds for the ippon. So Ortiz, winner by ippon. Wazari awasete ippon over Wang from China. Okay, up next, Kalinina from the Ukraine versus Maranic from Croatia. So here we have two very different types of players. Kalinina definitely has the advantage in reach. Kalinina really reaching over the back, really bringing Maranic down, locking her down into a very crouched position. But Maranic being called for a defensive position. I find that a little, yes, okay, being waved off. Okay. Seemed pretty clear to me too. But Kalinina was the one driving the exchange, and here she comes again with that very strong overhand grip. Oh, in for a big Harai entry, but never getting any upper body movement, but still getting an attack there. Maranic on the inside, they're in this Kinkayotsu position. Left hand grip versus right hand grip. Oh, Maranic switching off. Kalinina, I think, not only has the reach advantage, I think she looks a little stronger, and Maranic is really having to hold her out. Kalinina is definitely, though, driving this exchange. She's got a little bit more momentum in the attacks, although the attacks haven't been very decisive yet.
The danger is she can get those long legs over the top there, the big Harai.
And she's tried a couple times, but hasn't really been able to get it going. Maranic in for a little Sutemiwaza, Sumigaish, but never really brought Kalinina in close enough, but has her own attack now in the referee's perception. So
that long arm over the top there, as you can see, draws her opponent in. Those legs a bit high.
and she's been doing right.
Kosota trying to unstable her opponent, giving her much more leverage and coming in for the combination attack.
So in the last match, we saw this brilliant use by Ortiz using her shorter stature to come in on Wang and get the Sewanage. It was very, very well done. It'll be interesting to see if Maranic is able to do the same thing here. But so far, she's had all she can do to just hold Kalinina out and not really get anything of her own going. Oh, so Maranic has the grip, but she's reaching high. She's reaching high over Kalinina, which is kind of curious. So Kalinina coming around for the Kosoragari. Doesn't quite draw the Wazari, but definitely is.
They're looking for the Shimiwaza now, but obviously very little on offer.
So let's see if Maranic tries again. She's been going high, which is a curious choice to make against such a taller opponent. Of course, if you draw them down, you can draw a taller opponent down.
That's
and then
the thing, is trying to draw her head down to the same level. And it brings the weight forward, that makes it's trying to get a reaction for the head to come up.
Right.
As the head
So
come up, they go onto the heels and then attack them with the Ochi, Koichi, Osuragaris. And I think this is where she's trying to get that sort of reaction from Kalinina, but she's not getting at.
She's not.
At the moment, it's just a lot of effort, but she's
Kalinina
not
is
getting
too
the
strong.
right. She's not getting the right
see that?
reaction.
Oh,
from
there
her.
she goes.
And
Oh,
Kosota
tried to come around the back.
Got a very, very close to scoring that one.
Very close.
Shown it a couple of times now, and just seems to be a matter of time until she really connects with it. Well, she towers over her opponent there, as you can see. That high right hand collar grip, uses her feet.
Kochi.
Maranic there used her feet very nicely.
Yeah.
Now she's got the lapel this time. She's instead of trying to draw her opponent's head very deep down, she's just getting a bounce on it. So Sutemi was her attempt there, draws us down into the ground between the legs, and I don't think she's going to be able to get much there.
No. So even though Kalinina has the advantage in size and reach, Maranic has had, I think, the more significant attacks. Those were a couple of nice little attacks just now. Well, one bigger than the other.
So we're in now to golden score. Nothing really between both these. One Shido divides them. Maranic, for me, has showed that she's looking for various opportunities, where Kalinina has been very predictable out there at this moment. She's doing the same sort of motions, the Kosota, which have been closer to throwing, I know, but when you're that predictable, that gives your opponent a little bit more of an opportunity to try and change that around and wait and bide yourself a little bit more time, knowing that really not very much has changed in the past 4 minutes.
It does, but Kalinina is just so powerful. She's clearly got the strength advantage over Maranic.
I see the dangers with Maranic's feet. She showed at one stage the Kochigare, and she stumbled her.
Yeah.
Now that will be still in her mind. Does she have enough energy, power, condition to be able to do that again? I think that the Achilles heel for Kalinina is to the rear. It definitely is to the rear. She is weak there, and you can see the way her posture is. The head is down, but very, very flat on her feet. But again, like you say,
doesn't seem to have picked up on it again, though. I haven't seen her try it again.
No, she hasn't. And in fairness for Kalinina, she's got that high collar grip. She's just overpowering, isn't she?
She is overpowering. There's such a power differential in this match. Maranic's coach has been dismissed, and Kalanina's coach has been cautioned.
High, deep in the back there, grip. We'll see with that right side.
Ooh,
Again, she
in
seems
for
to
the
fall in
shimiwaza.
there, but the shimiwaza, is it on? I don't think so.
It's
Maybe
hard
a
to tell. Can't see. Oh, no, it's over the chin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the chin. You can see it from this angle. But
Which
then a
isn't
transition
gonna choke
into
you out,
Niwaza
but-
was good.
Yeah, it was good. It's not going to choke you out, but it can be quite uncomfortable. It can displace
And the
your
last
jaw.
thing you want is starting to get a split lip where it starts to bleed, and
Yeah.
it becomes a problem when it comes to bleeding and having to go to see the medical, because you only have 2 chances on medical, and then the contest is finished for you.
So despite her power, I think Kalanina is showing a bit more fatigue at this point. Maranic has a bit... Oh, there goes that Ashiwaza.
Oh, the Ouchigari, you see,
yeah.
that's... For me, that's the danger. It's
She's
just like
trying to
seesaw,
drive her over.
But straight into the Osakomi. Oh, well, she does manage to get out, but what a situation she put herself into.
But that was...
But this is where
she
I
was
say
in for the
with-
Sumigai Shin off the ground. Kalanina was actually holding her up.
She was pulling up and then thought, what am I holding her up for? When I could actually sit on her here.
Yeah.
But
Maranic just didn't have the mass to pull Kalanina down forward into that Sumigaishi.
But once more, there was a real threat with the Ouchigari. Did
Yeah,
you
there
see
was.
It was there.
There was.
She's weak there. But she just doesn't seem to be doing it enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, there she has a feel that she's maybe not confident enough, or maybe it's just not her technique. But
maybe not.
at this moment, it just seems to be an opportunity
Because right
missed.
there are opportunities.
Drops under her, stumbles her down, but it was like it was a bit of a clash there of 2 reactions just colliding there together.
Maranic has several attacks now. Let's see if Kalanina... Wow, they've been through a battle.
Well, in nearly 3 minutes now in the golden score. And
If Maranic gets another attack or 2 going, Kalanina will draw at least a Shido for
Maranic
passivity.
takes the lapel grip. Tomonage!
But that's such a... Okay, no pun intended. That's an incredibly tall order. Kalanina's legs are so long that Maranic would have to... I don't know how far she'd have to extend in order to get the elevation she needs to get Kalanina to lose contact with the ground. I mean, just look at where their hips are compared to each
Yes.
other. You know?
Kochigari again stumbles her opponent back.
Yeah, that is the key. That definitely, I think...
Definitely for me, it's the rear that she should... Maranic should be working for.
Ouchigari, Kochigari, Kosotogari. I think we might see a penalty here.
Yeah, I think this time the Ukraine will get it, so there you have it.
So now even. And
Kalanina starting to look quite tired out there, isn't it?
yeah,
but
really.
looking for a sodi, but just
her
didn't
movements are
have the
getting
energy
really
to get
dull.
the arm across, did she?
No, she's just sort of staggering through it.
Kochigari there once more. She obviously now starts to see that there is an opportunity to the rear. Comes in with the Sianagi.
Sianagi.
Oh, very poorly timed. And when you're so tired and your opponent's so big, maybe not the wisest of techniques to do when you haven't actually moved your opponent.
But it's hard to be wise when you're this fatigued.
Yeah.
9 minutes of play so far. 4.5 minutes of golden score. I'm sorry, 8.5 minutes of play. Okay, I keep thinking that it's 5 minutes regulation.
Yes, yeah. Kalanina has the strong...
Maranic, Ouchigari, Sumigaishi.
Sumigaishi.
Several attacks. Maranic continuing the pace. Several attacks. Kalanina has not launched another attack since her last Shido.
Second Shido now. This changes the dynamics now. Kalanina will start to come forward a little bit more. Try if she has
If
the
she
energy
has the gas.
in it. It all depends if she's got the energy to do so. Again, the koichi, a side skip off to the side, and that's a good option there for Maranic. She really should use her feet.
Oh, Kosoro attempt by Kalanina. But very, very tentative. Very anemic kind of attempt. Let's see if that will count or if that'll draw a Shido for a false attack.
I think it'll be a Shido for false attack, I think.
Because there was just, Maranic was not off balance. She didn't even have to step out of it. All she had to do was stand up. Both players clearly exhausted.
Well, that would have taken a lot out of them.
Grinding match. I remember being this exhausted, so exhausted you could barely tuck your gi in your obi.
Yeah, I thought that was you getting up this morning.
Oh, thanks.
This was me this morning getting up.
Oh, that was you this morning. Okay.
6 days, on the 7th
day.
Okay,
third Shido for Kalanina. With a very brave match on both players' part.
Yeah.
For Maranic.
And looking at the
from Croatia, who will face Ortiz, who, as we know, is also a very tall order.
That will definitely be a hard match for her, and a quite
tall, figuratively speaking.
Definitely a big challenge as far as weights are concerned.
Yeah. So somebody like Maranic in this weight class, I have great respect for just in how they face these challenges.
Thiemann here for Brazil and Weiss of Germany.
Weiss from Germany, yes. Oh, and Athiman has that same side grip. Weiss is getting this. As we saw in the last match, Weiss is a very powerful player, but Athiman is very canny. Think she can get her Sewanage on Weiss?
I'm not sure.
She did it on Wang, but Wang was a different prospect.
Yeah. I think these are a little bit more evenly matched as far as size are concerned.
Weiss has got far more quickness than Wang did.
Brazilian is a strong athlete. She's got some nice judo, and she gets the opportunity when she starts moving. That Makikomi is very powerful indeed. And
Shimewaza?
Weiss has got to be careful.
Yeah,
she has to start moving. The Makikomi is the danger for me.
Right.
Here.
Because if
she stays still and allows her to even get that arm close to the head, then
Athiman will use her girth
it's going to be hard to get out.
Right. Athiman definitely has the mass advantage.
And she's
we know
very
she's
strong
very
indeed.
Powerful. Oh, right.
That big leg coming across with a big harai.
Yep. Or maybe it's more Ashiguruma. So, Athiman is really good at locking down that sleeve. And then of course that leads right into the Makikomi we were talking about.
There's the danger. That's left hand high on the collar. As you can see, she draws her head down.
She's really
and she
setting
steps across. You could see
Weiss trying to do the counter, but Athiman turning it into countering the counter.
And the Osakomi has been called. Weiss desperately trying to get out, but Wazari is setting upon.
And we've seen that before. Athiman is very effective at that. That's what she did to Baidro.
Yes, exactly the same thing. And
so
she's on form today. There's no doubt about it.
She knows how to play people who she lets them come in for that counter and then counters with her own koso togari.
And now we have coming up, we'll see the highlights of that match and that very throw. Here you have it. She had very good, strong kumikata.
Countering and then coming in for her own turn. It's not even a I'm sorry, not
No,
a
she
Kosotogari
didn't.
at all,
Yeah,
but
it's not very.
just turning her upper
She
body.
just reacted very well for a
Yeah.
heavyweight. That's she done very well there.
There's an agility in her upper
Yes.
torso which allows her to take control even though she's in the air.
Because she was forward attacking. She
Yeah.
was very, very powerful there. Good kumikata.
Yeah.
But to be able to relax off that and switch it. Now we have Slutskaya representing Belarus, and then we have Adlington of Great Britain. Now we saw, I think, so far in this weight category, the best throw of the day, really, with Adlington, with the big harai goshi.
Right.
It was superb textbook style. Can she repeat that again? She looks so good out there today. And seen her in previous competitions and lead up to this, and she's not had great performances or what she would be happy with. But today she seems so focused.
Both larger dynamic players. As we saw, Slutskaya was very, very adept at managing Chikruhu.
Yes, and that was a tough match.
It was a tough match.
Chikruhu was just thrown into the mix, not a seeded athlete, but a very competent athlete, there's no doubt about it. And Slutskaya did really well against her, and so she'll be feeling quietly confident as she comes into this third round match with Adlington. Now, we said at the beginning that Adlington takes a little bit of time. She looks like she's
she
waiting
did last
too long.
time, but here she comes over the
belt
shoulder.
grip, she's got to use it.
Oh,
yes!
dice! Down
But
into, was there enough control?
Well, the foot was in there.
I thought it was.
I thought she had the control.
I thought
she
had it
had
all
the
way
belt
through.
grip. And that gave her the.
Slutskaya tried to counter it, but Adlington kept it.
I thought that was a score for Adlington, definitely.
And it
yes,
is.
And it's
Ippon
an Ippon.
For Adlington.
She had the belt.
She had it all the way down.
She had control right from the beginning.
Right.
Slutskaya, she reacted because of that belt grip.
But then Adlington continued the drive.
Continued it.
Right.
So definitely. Well, Adlington of Great Britain is starting to fire there, but she has
and she did. She had the belt to the very last moment until she had to let go to get a toe sekomi. Really driving her down. Yes.
Great win. Again, another good performance and a good throw there from Adlington.
Very different kind of throw from the previous one. Yeah.
Well, definitely looking very much a contender for a place on a podium if she can continue that. But she has a couple of challenges that will be coming up very soon. It will be interesting to see that she can keep that focus and that confidence going.
Now, if you're interested, there's a great match going on currently on mat 3 between Krpalik from Czech Republic and Kukardi from Azerbaijan. Krpalik is one of the big favorites to do very well today in the plus 100. He's the current Olympic champion in, I think, under 100 kilos, and is coming in to try and medal here at this weight class.
Well, we've just got to wait because of the time scale, because of those quick ippons. It was.
We have to wait 5 minutes.
Have to give them a little bit of time to go through that judoki control and give them the rest time that they well deserve, because these matches have been challenging for the heavyweights.
And they've been going nicely quickly. I mean, we've had a few golden scores, but they have. Oh!
Well,
there was just a huge development on mat 3.
And let's have a look at what we've actually got. At the beginning, started off with the the plus 78s with 33 athletes. And what was thrown, what was apparent there was thrown in the mix where we had Chikruhu that put a challenge amongst them there who wasn't seeded. We also have Ortiz that's now finding herself there in the third round, the fourth round, and she's going to be up against Maranic, who, for someone who's so small, is making a real amazing job out there. She's starting to come more confident there. Well, the crowd is going absolutely bananas here.
Because
and the reason is Krpalik did actually have a throw, not like he was hit. He was a Wazaria, but Azerbaijan, Baku scored with Ippon, with an exchange of a counter.
Very controversial because Kukardi came in, for a throw. Karpalak countered, but Karpalak hit the ground first, which is the right call.
Yeah.
Karpalak hit the ground first. He did take Kokari over for a secondary throw, but Karpalak hit the ground first.
And for me, the care system is here to just keep an eye, and it is difficult for the referees, there's no doubt about it, to be able to see something within a second of it happening and be able to judge that. So the care system, they go back to it, they replay it, and here we have...
Oh, that's really close.
It was a 50-50
That's
on
really
that.
close. I think, oh man. Karpalak did a really beautiful Tsutemiwaza there. He went, it was a combination coming in for the Uchimata, switching to a Tsutemiwaza, rolling completely through. But they gave it to Kukari for taking control away from Karpalak.
And we were fortunate to have in the plus 100s, the top seed, the A group, which had Tushishvili. And he, for me, is looking very special out there,
He is looking
isn't
great.
he? So,
and he'll be up next against Meyer, who's had a fantastic day as well.
Yeah, but against Tushishvili, I think it's going to be a tall order. I really do.
And then we'll go back to the 78s for Ortiz and Moronic, and then Altheman versus Adlington. But in the meantime, it's been a great day.
It's been some, it's been exciting,
it's been
hasn't
an exciting day.
Very, very exciting.
I love the heavyweight class. Just because even though the pace can be a little slower, when heavyweights throw one another, it's just epic. And when you get the lighter heavyweights throwing the heavier heavyweights, that's even more epic.
And sometimes my heart goes out for them because everyone wants to see the
little guy.
The little guy win, don't they? Oh,
but when the big guys win, it's great too. I love it.
Yeah, because at the way I like to say that the impact they make, it's you have to appreciate the size of these people.
Goodness, yeah.
The athletes, the size of the athletes, how agile they can be.
Agility. They're nimble. They're agile and nimble and technical. Okay, and here we go. Meyer will be in blue, Tushishvili in white. Meyer is ready to go, lining up well over, almost halfway into the mat. Really coming after Tushishvili.
Oh, definitely. Meyer's up for this. He engages, he brings him to the edge of the contest over.
Chigari.
And
and off the mat!
Well,
completely off the mat!
No love lost between these two as they come back into the contest area.
That's amazing! Oh my gosh, I've never seen that before.
Well,
this mat is not big enough for the both of them.
Well, Meyer has just shown how hungry he is definitely for this.
Oh,
a couple of really good, strong attacks there. Tushishvili really has to calm this down now and sort of compose himself. He looked a little bit angry there. He really was.
Yes, I think he was a little
emotional
annoyed
about that situation, and so he needs to sort of calm
his composure
down, compose himself, and get back into this contest. But Meyer's hit him like a train going downhill. He really is.
Tushishvili, Sore Tsurikomegoshi. Ooh.
Meyer,
just like a couple of bears.
Well, that's exactly what they look like. They're just so strong.
The face that Meyer had in this last pin. Oh, it was very, very strong.
Deep on the belt, the hit comes through, the Uchimata's there, and he drives him over. Well, a good comeback there.
But Meyer really sprawling out, keeping him from going anywhere.
Well, he could sense the threat when he got the hand on that belt.
Clear. Yeah.
He knew he was in danger.
There wasn't any subtlety about that particular throw.
Sore
Tsurikomegoshi.
Yeah, well, it turned into the Sori. It looked like he was going for that Morote.
It was, but he kept his hand on the sleeve.
He was able to brace him, and then the arm just dropped. The weight went down. And
so tremendous power on these athletes. Tushishvili trying to break Meyer's grip with his own Sewanage.
Oh, Chigari!
Oh, Chigari! Sewanage!
Some nice judo coming from both these athletes, but for me,
Huge, powerful
Roy
attacks.
Meyer just seems to have the edge. He is just hitting
just
him
a
with
bit,
a few
just a
more
bit.
different techniques there. He's very
dangerous.
very
but
dangerous, there's
Tushishvili
no
is
doubt
not
about it.
rattled. He is totally composed at the
Yeah.
moment.
He's cool out there.
Meyer, Sore, Ippon Sewanage.
Well, he was,
A drop.
Tushishvili was waiting for that drop.
Yeah.
It's remarkable there hasn't actually been a score on the board yet, and we're coming halfway through this. And I'm looking at halfway, we've only gone.
Oh my gosh, it's already.
We've had 2 minutes of work that would take
And how many attacks
some
has it been?
athletes. It's
10
taken them
different
8.
attacks?
So we hear coming up to a minute and a half in this quarter-final match. Tushishvili, he's got that grip over the back, and we know he's very, very dangerous when he gets that deep. He has the Uchimata. You can see, you can sort of sense that he's working his way up to it. But Meyer has slowed down. He's put so much work in the first 2 minutes of this contest that he looks like he's really burnt out slightly. Draws across for what looked to be the Osota right off the edge there.
Oh!
Yes!
What an Ashiwaza!
Well, we saw that earlier in the previous matches where it was superb.
No score. 1 minute. Oh, just about 1 minute left in the
I
contest.
can't believe the amount of throws that we have seen so far, but no score as yet. And they've been so close. Both of these athletes could have had this finished over and done so many times, but they've just managed to escape from each other's grips at the latter stage of the throw.
Oh, I
Meyer
couldn't quite
comes in
see what
and-
that was.
Well, it was a continuation there, and Meyer did
Tushishvili.
try to counter it, but it was Tushishvili's throw. He was able to secure the Wazari, but let's have another look at it. Came in for the Maku, yeah, and there was the land, but it was a continuation.
It was a
wasn't
continuation.
there?
Meyer was
That
trying
was
to counter.
Very, very close.
Oh, yeah. So maybe they're
Very
looking at
close.
it to see.
But there was a landing.
There was a
landing
landing.
first.
But did you see Tushishvili keep control with the Makikomi? His hand came off, and
He had that sleeve, the Makikomi, obviously the arm looked loose as he landed. But again, that one was a hard one to call. It wasn't so straightforward there. But I think even the care system of having a look.
Wazari? No Wazari.
No. 50-50.
No
If in
score.
doubt, you
Okay,
give
no
now.
control.
That's the way I look at it. And
I
a good
see-
call
I agree.
possibly, because I think that was definitely a 50-50 situation there.
Yes. So it's slowed down a bit here in the last 30 seconds of the match, but
Tushishvili again with that high grip over the back, deep in, controlling. Meyer coming in for the drop. He's very dangerous when he comes underneath Tushishvili. Sianagi not as convincing there for the Georgian.
no, he was way on the outside. I think he did
Oh,
that.
Chigari.
Oh, Chigari! Oh, Chimata!
Yeah, so there is just so much going on here. It's one attack after the other. These two athletes have just not
going
let
back
up.
and forth,
It's just
battling
constant
it out.
action, battling all the time. For such heavyweights as well.
Oh, and the
We've
pace
seen
has not let up a
more
second.
work in this actual match than we've seen in some of the lightweights.
Yes, I was just thinking that. It's the same pace that we'll see in like 66 kilos.
Golden score. Well, a nice entry.
Oh, and
right
a good
off the
sprawling
second.
response by Meyer, keeping it from being a score.
Sianagi, a great,
Tushishvili.
great
Yeah.
entry there, and right off the golden score
off-
at the beginning
right off the
there.
bell.
That's the sort of real dangers, isn't it? Getting in that quick. Sianagi
Sewanage.
coming through now.
Oh, in for the
into
Shimewaza.
Has he got
Does
the
he got it?
Shimewaza?
Does he have it?
looks uncomfortable.
I think now he's showing with his hand out, he's showing that he's awake.
sometimes that's quite dangerous because you just think
look like
if,
he's
if
tapping,
there's a
maybe,
tap,
yeah,
then they could call because the referee cannot see
But
what
it
he
worked too.
feels. But it did work. But I always get a bit nervous when they put the hand out there. Even myself thought that Tushishvili was in a little bit of trouble because it looked like that hand was ready to tap. Deep in the back, this is where Tushishvili is very dangerous when he gets that opportunity to come in deep. Now Mayer comes underneath of the Sianagis, we know that. But he's got so much control, Tushishvili, to allow him to drop in so easily.
Okay, where did that come from?
I don't know. Pair of socks that was maybe in
What
his
was
jacket?
that?
Quite sure.
Oh, maybe it's a back patch, part of a back patch? Yeah, it's
Yes,
off of Meyer's back. He ripped the little red patch right off.
Attempt of a Tayatoshi there, stepped it, wasn't timed very well there. But these athletes have put so much in, they'll be tired now. And would you blame? But
Meyer picks up a second Shido.
well, surprised there, but he hasn't engaged. If you think
not
about
as much
it,
as Tushishvili.
He's not done any of attacks really, not as much as Tushishvili, and who's been very.
Uchimata! Driving! Immediately! But he had called mate.
They call mate, so that won't count.
Right.
Now, there was a real stumbling moment there for Tushishvili.
Oh, yeah.
He did, for such a big man, he did so well to defend off that.
And Meyer's really responding to that Shido, making sure he's coming in again now with a second.
And he's got to be careful when he puts these drops in. He's two Shidos on the board. One more would be the Hansokimaki. And I'm sure we don't want to see this go to a Hansokimaki because both of these athletes have given a 110% out here. There's been no doubt about it. The performance has been outstanding.
Oh, it's been fantastic.
One of the best matches I've ever seen Roy Meyer perform up against a tough opponent. He has had some
Look at the sweat
great
pouring off of him.
opportunities, but Tushishvili has just seemed to have the edge on him just slightly.
Just slightly, but only slightly. And there. That was
1 minute and 43
that was kind of an odd attack. I'm not sure what kind of attack that would be at all.
Well, it did look like it was attempting the Makakomi, but it was so close below the elbow.
But it was at the outside.
So it was very dangerous the transition of coming into an arm lock.
Oh, Meyer in for a Sutemiwaza, but Tushishvili managing it.
Now coming past those legs.
But Meyer's turned.
He just didn't have the upper body control in the Niwaza. Well, the crowd are starting to erupt and applaud both these athletes.
Oh, I think that's it.
Yes, there's a Wazari
Tushishvili in.
He reacted, he spun back on it. He could feel good awareness there, good sense of direction, and
reversed
what was a lot of pressure throughout this whole contest.
What a finish.
Both these athletes, 6 minutes battled away, and you've got to take your hat off to these athletes. You applaud both of them for the performance out here today.
Tushishvili with the Wazari. 2 minutes and being waved off.
Oh, right. Well, do you know
well
what?
It's not over.
For me, I'm quite happy to see this keep going. I really am happy to see this one because it's been a superb match.
Well, it could continue to be
exciting.
a superb match.
But your heart goes out for Tushishvili.
Oh my goodness!
Now will this a turning point? Because Tushishvili mentally had prepared himself. He'd won.
He was probably thinking,
in the
I won.
semi-final.
So coming down and then reversing. I guess so Meyer took control away. It wasn't Tushishvili throwing. It was Meyer taking control away. So very good call. Oh wow!
Well, a little bit of an open situation there. That was sort of that stumbling motion that you didn't know how it was going to fall, and Tushishvili was he was able to understand the dynamics of that movement and be able to put himself in a position of not being scored on.
That wasn't
but
such a good
it's difficult for Tushishvili. He thought he had this one in the bag, and now he has to get back mentally, focus and direct into this contest once more, knowing that he thought he was ready for the semi-final. Meyer has got another stab at this. He's ready to go for again. He's got a second
in for
line. Well, poor judgment. The Sasai attempt, but he really didn't have any break of Kusushi. He really didn't give it himself an opportunity there.
Lucky Tushishvili didn't quite take control away from there.
No, and he had an opportunity, a lost chance there for Tushishvili.
If this had been earlier in the match,
they're sort of beside themselves. The Georgians crowd here supporting all the way, and they've been very vocal.
Earlier in the match,
it was all overdone, and Tushishvili was going to be their hero going into this semi-final. But Meyer is still battling in. He's still got that chance. He comes in for another drop, but again, it was a poor judgment in the timing of that. And will the referee feel that he's seen too many of those sort of attacks coming in too frequently? The Osoragari.
Oh. Sewanage. Oh, there we go. Yes. No doubt about that one.
Well, there definitely isn't, but there isn't a score, and there's an Osakomi.
And it is Osakomi, but it's for the Ippon. No doubt about that Sewanage at all.
But
Clear entry.
What I'm a bit nervous of, there's no score.
He called the Ippon.
Oh, yeah.
He did call the Ippon.
Right.
The scoreboard just took a while to catch up.
But what was confusing there for our viewers as well, Meyer went into the Osakomi.
Right.
There was no score
There
on
was
the board.
no score.
He tapped. And then the referee called the Ippon. So that's what made me very nervous.
I see.
Because of the sequences of movements
right.
and responses to that.
Right.
So that was a bit of a nerve-wracking situation.
Yes.
So, but it all, at the end, Tushishvili got his place in the semi-final.
Oh, okay.
He had to work for it, there's no doubt about it. And full credit to Roy Meyer from the Netherlands.
Terrific match.
A terrific match.
What
fantastic
a battle.
Performance. And
really
look forward to seeing Meyer in the repechage, because I think we will see him on that podium.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt at all in my mind, based on that performance even alone. Well, that was definitely a battle, and your heart was there. You were off the seat so many times, but now we have to get ourselves back onto the zone. We're now moving across to the ladies plus 78 kilo category. Ortiz from Cuba in the white, Moranic from Croatia in the blue. Now for Moranic, she had a really tough match in the previous round. She really had to battle away against Kalanina of the Ukraine, which was a really interesting match, but she played it well. There was some lost opportunities, I felt, there with her Ashiwazas, and would have made things a little bit easier for her, but she still got the result at the end of the day. But Ortiz is one of these that's come in, this Olympic champion, double world champion, which was thrown in the mix without a seeding, and really upset the odds altogether when she was up against Kim, the #1 seed in the second round.
Well, Moranic doing a great job of meeting Ortiz in the first minute of the match. Doesn't seem to be having the struggle. She's not going to have the problem with somebody with a huge reach advantage coming in and crushing her down the way that she had in the last match.
That's right. And Moranic, for me, I just think, again, if she started thinking about the rear attacks, because you can see how the body is positioned for Ortiz.
Right.
Now, but what she has to do is she has to move her, because Ortiz does like the counters as well, and she waits, plays a bit of a waiting game. But her Makukomi is what it makes her strong there. Oh gosh, she hit
Surigoshi.
Well, yeah, the Surigoshi was there. Yeah.
Into Osaikomi.
And Ippon.
And think she
Well,
tapped.
she made easy work of that, didn't she?
That
with
was a pretty clear
Skurigoshi.
match.
And Ortiz goes in to the semi-final, and she'll be up against the winner of the next match coming up very shortly, and we'll be able to see the highlights. Yeah, there weren't very much time on that match, but there was some nice highlights that we will be able to view.
Not the battle that we've seen before, but a good, clean match.
Ortiz is, for me, looking very sharp
Very
at
strong.
that. She's looking well prepared for this World Championships, and very much the champion we would expect on her performance. Hips in.
So decisive coming in with this Ko Tsurugoshi, driving her straight down.
Nicely done there.
Good, technical throw, very technical. So up next we'll have Althiman from Brazil versus Adlington from Great Britain.
Now, for me, this is the best I've ever seen Adlington perform for a long time. She had been plagued for some time with injuries, one after another. It just seemed an absolute disaster for her for the past year or so. But she's come back in a very good situation. She's looking very strong, but also she's mentally strong here as well. And she really has become a real contender in this World Championships. Althiman, we cannot write out, very strong athlete. Nice judo. She has the Sianagis, and this is where Adlington's got to be very careful as she drops underneath her, because Adlington is very, as we've seen even with her throws, very upright, the big harai goshis. But she can be vulnerable for the drops, and this is where she has to keep herself a little bit supple, that she's not too rigid to be falling over the drops underneath her.
Now we've seen Althiman use a particular approach very specifically against the last couple of opponents. So we'll see. But Adlington's a very different, just in terms of physical stature. I don't think that's going to work the same way that it did in the last couple of matches. So let's see what Althiman does differently here.
Well, it's a real battle at the moment to try and control in the kumikata. Adlington obviously not very happy with the sleeve grip that's been controlled at this moment, and she's been battling to try and break free of the grasps of the Brazilian, and picks up the first Shido. But as she sort of bounces away, now she tries to throw that arm over the top. The danger is if she throws over and extends herself over her opponent. That's where the drops come in, and that's where she has to be very, very careful to be able to anticipate. But she's coming, she's trying desperately, deep on the back.
Deep on the back.
Oh, well, that was a shame, because there was an opportunity for Adlington. Definitely a lost opportunity. Timing the referee.
Althiman really dropped, though. So, but, now they both have a Shido.
both have a Shido apiece there.
So
and
Althiman
we're
probably picked it up
halfway.
for his false attack.
It was trying to get break. She was lack of engagement. It was the
Call.
she was trying to get rid of the grip, and then she got that penalty earlier on. Adlington did the Sianagi attempt, but
And driving Adlington around, but not quite enough. Althiman just can't seem to get the penetration she needs.
well, what she does need to do, Adlington, is to move her opponent. She has to be much more authority in this.
And
She's
she's
got
definitely
to
bringing
control.
it now. Right.
Thema just dropping the arm back in front. She likes to keep those arms at bay and making, and which seems to kill Adlington a little bit there.
Yep.
And there's the second Shido.
Shido for
So
Adlington.
Adlington really has to throw that arm, draw her opponent towards her. She really has to shake her up a little bit. A little attack
Althiman
like
coming
that's
after.
not going to have any impact on the Brazilian at all. She has to pressurize her. It's all or nothing for Adlington. She's got 2 Shidos on the board. If she doesn't attack now, she'll pick up the third and final Shido.
Now, Althiman
And again,
has
it's
grip,
2 hands on the same
2
side.
hands on the same side.
She's doing exactly the same thing as what she got the penalties for before.
But Althiman's kind of driving that herself. She's also doing the same thing,
Yeah.
so it's not leaving Adlington much choice.
Well, she needs to, off the top, she
Oh,
has to be
so
so much aggressive when she comes over the top. She really has to mean every grip that she takes hold of. She's battling against a very strong opponent. She cannot play pat a cake with her.
Athleman in for the Harai.
And
But
a
Adlington
drop
just drops
there.
out of
Well,
it.
she dropped out of because she was under pressure there. It was, I think she could pick this third Shido up on that. She might be lucky. I hope
Nope.
she is. And she is.
Yeah,
she's lucky off that drop.
She's certainly coming in very powerfully with that big left hand, but it's just being, Athleman's just stopping that cold.
See, Adlington, you can. She's got her
So she's
hand.
not pulling the way that you're talking
That
about.
left
She's gotta
sleeve is
pull.
getting caught up there, and she really hasn't got any comeback from it. Thema really knows how to block and control, and she knows taking Adlington's left sleeve has been the recipe for success in this contest.
Okay,
Well, they're
no
allowing it to
penalty.
go again, and
All right.
but Sarah really has to dig deep now.
Let's see if she can start
Adlington
pulling.
really has to go for this now. She has to find something from the pit of her stomach to come through and try and come back into this contest. Once more, she gets her left hand caught up there, which really causes her so many problems. Athena really has a good kumikacha. She's controlling. She doesn't really have to do too much at this particular moment.
Oh, but she's coming in.
But she comes in for the Osotogari, and Adlington once more drops to her knees. Well, is she saved by the golden score? I think the referee has looked at that Osotogari and has looked at that drop, and I'm not sure. The ref seems to be a little bit lenient, but
Nope.
I think not
There we
this
go.
time. And sadly for Adlington of Great Britain, great performances up until this point, just couldn't overcome the problems that she would face of having her left arm being controlled so much by the Brazilian. Athena goes through to the semi-final, but we will see Adlington of Great Britain in the repechage a little bit later on. So there's been some very interesting matches, some exciting
Some incredible
matches,
judo today.
some real highs.
Oh,
for
I'll never
heavyweights.
forget that match between Tushishvili and Meyer.
Definitely.
Driving off the mat in the beginning and going all the way to the end.
It has been really interesting.
That was incredible.
And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, following the heavyweights today with the plus 100s and the plus 78s. But for myself, Loretta Cusack-Doyle, and my colleague
June Shin.
thank you for joining us, and join us later on where we will have Mr. Neil Adams and Mr. Sheldon Franco Rooks that will be covering live the final block of both these weight categories. Goodbye.
Bye.